With the current price action of Bitcoin and altcoins, is now a time to sell, take profit, and stable up? Or is it an amazing opportunity to buy some of your favorite altcoins? You look at projects like Solana, projects like Hedera, like Algorand, like Cardano, and can list so many more. What should you be doing? We're going to have that very important conversation. Also, some news on Michael Saylor. He bought Bitcoin, but he also met with the SEC. Is that bullish or bearish for your bags? We'll talk about that also. We're going to take a look at some altcoins. We're going to take a look at a few charts. We're also going to show you what the ETF issuers have been doing. And one hedge fund in Wall Street is looking to become a market maker in crypto. Who is it? Is it a positive? Is it a negative? We'll talk about that and much, much more on today's episode of Sin City Crypto. Let's go. Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto, home of the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency content where we take old, boring, and stale information that you have gotten so used to seeing on other channels. But we do it in a fun, sexy, flashy, Sin City Crypto kind of way. You know what? I'm so proud of our city.
You are?
I am, man. You know.
Why is that?
Well, first of all, we named our channel after Vegas. So that doesn't tell you we were bullish on Vegas. I don't know what else does. But we got a lot coming down the pipeline here. We have the Bitcoin conference coming up in May, which, by the way, if you have not secured your ticket yet, the prices are going to go up here very soon. I forget, like next week. And buy your tickets now. Also save 10% by using our code OLA. But May, Bitcoin conference, world's biggest conference. Also, we're expecting Bitcoin to be over 200,000. There's rumors still that Donald Trump will be there again. It's not been confirmed, but he was at the last conference. And so you'll probably have a sitting president at the conference, which has never happened before.
Never.
It'll be here in Vegas. Also, you're going to have a Litecoin convention and also an XRP convention right around that same time.
Forget about Rare Evo?
Rare Evo as
Rare
well.
Evo's my favorite.
That was in August, right?
I love Rare Evo.
And so a lot coming to Las Vegas. So we're very excited here. We're going to have an integral part in facilitating the festivities, right? We're going to have a lot of big names here in studio, and a lot of familiar faces, some badass interviews. So
Also, one of my favorite people is coming to Vegas this Thursday.
who's that?
I'm not going to out him. Maybe he doesn't want people to.
Ben Armstrong? He you know what? He said he was going to think about moving to Vegas. So maybe we'll see more of him around. So. And then also you got
How'd it go there?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I talked to Ben the other day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's very insightful. You know, he reached out. We had some I guess beef or we had a little Twitter disputes or X disputes. So kind of brushed that all under the rug. It was nice. It was nice. Kind of.
You guys besties now or what?
No, we just had a long conversation. The man's been through a lot, you know. Whether or not whatever side of the fence you should land on his situation with this company, we don't know a lot of the intricacies. We're far away, so we've always kind of just stood on the outside looking in, just because we're objective because we don't really know much information. So, but anyways, yeah, I talked to him, and so it was good. It was a good conversation. I appreciate Ben reaching out and extending apologies or squashing the issues, and I did the same as well. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, he might be moving to Vegas. So I wouldn't be surprised to see more and more creators coming to Vegas. Not only just on a trip here, but I think a lot of people are going to start setting up shop here. Wouldn't be surprised to see other big YouTube, because people love moving to Dubai when they're in crypto, right? We see it all the time. Like, hey, I made it in crypto, my subscribers, whatever, trading. And then next thing you know, headquarters in Dubai. I feel like a lot of people are going to do the same thing here in Vegas. And so Brian F said, will Solana recover back to 200, or should I just take it in the, you know what? It'll bounce back. I mean, the pullback is off of Solana's meme coin craze taking a beating, right? Javier Malay and the Libra token really did a number on on the meme coin ecosystem. And we know that the meme coin ecosystem currently is dominated by Solana. So if that takes a hit, we know Solana takes a hit and the price is pulling back. I wouldn't be concerned on the Solana in the long term, especially looking into this bull market. I think it'll be over $200. But however, Solana was a little overvalued compared to the other layer ones. And I don't know, man. I think if you give it maybe 3 months, I think that's probably, what are you looking at?
Go.
I think if you give about 3 months.
Hit the producer cam.
What's going on over there?
Rocco got his glass. Well, what's up with the shades, Rocco? Just.
Can't.
Oh,
You're muted here. What do you got?
So we got the glasses. It's for the light, and also there are reading glasses at the same time.
Okay, we rerouted some audio in different areas, so we can't hear you in here.
Oh.
But we don't need to, man. The stream hears you, so that's not a problem. But
It's just because the light here is absolutely super. I'm 10 usually. I'm getting
Look,
orange. So
I'm putting
And
the
it's something
piece
for
of
the
puzzle together. The guy's Italian. He's been in Vegas a while. He's probably got family that used to run the city. He put his glasses on when you said people moving to Vegas. All I'm saying is, man, Rocco's on a mission here.
forget about it.
All right. So let's jump into the markets. Okay. So we're in an interesting time. We always.
but real quick, just to finish out on Solana. Are you concerned on Solana this bull market? And then we'll get into the market.
At face value, okay.
Because I'm not.
At face value, yes. But if you dig into what Solana does and you go past the surface level, no.
Okay. Next 3 months, you probably agree. Probably a significant pullback, right? Or at least consolidation.
Solana's down 50% from its all-time high. So you can call that a significant.
Yeah, but you don't. Okay, we'll put it this way. Do you expect Solana to have a major bounce back within the next 90 days?
Yes.
Yeah?
I do.
Oh, see, I don't. However, I do think it's going to bounce back, but I think it's going to become later in the year. And so I think perhaps June, July, August, September, I think that's when Solana's really making strides.
I think a lot of people, well, so the people that are saying a majority of their trading is meme coin and meme coins are dead, so Solana's, part of that is true. I mean, you look at just raw numbers, 75 to 90% of all Solana transactions came from meme coin trading. And that meta, I don't want to call it dead, but it's currently at the very least come to a halt.
Then don't you agree that meme coins are probably in a consolidation or not really selling?
I think the washout is going to be largest in meme coins.
Yeah, but don't you think that's going to stretch out 90 days?
Maybe.
I think so. And so basically, I don't see meme coins taking off for the next few months. I think that what we're going to have is a cooling effect in that part of the market. And I think that other things are going to stand out. And so for that reason, I think that the next 90 days for Solana is not looking great because I think that the people are exhausted in meme coins. I'm exhausted in meme coins, bro.
Well, then
you got
that one guy that did that thing. I can't say the word, but
well, you also got, you got Yeezy.
He sold his account to a crypto guy for $17 million. That guy's weird, bro. He's like posting weird Nazi stuff. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? You got kids. What are you doing? God, Jesus. Anyways, so what I was trying to say is, from that level, you look at the numbers and say, okay, it makes sense, right? Radium is down, like the entire ecosystem's down. But when you look past the surface level and you look at from an RWA narrative, okay, Solana ranks consistently in top 5 networks for RWA. You look at stablecoin narrative, they consistently rank top 3 in stablecoin usage on the network. So there's a lot more to Solana. It's just what pushed it to its all-time high was the speculative meme coin trading, was the launches, right? You know how much money Pumped Out Fund made? How much money Radium, Orca, Meteora made from fees because of all these new meme coins? That is all dwindling down. And so you're starting to see that. And I also think part of it too is everyone's freaking out about the large unlocks in Solana. And let me tell you something, from my personal experience being not just in the crypto market, but in the stock market for a very long time, usually when a majority of people expect something, the opposite happens. Everyone is expecting the unlocks on Solana to happen and the market price dumps. What will probably happen is the unlocks will happen and Solana will rally. Clip this right now. That's probably what's going to happen. Now, I'm not saying go out and trade it. If you want to, it's pretty risky. Go ahead and do it. But at the end of the day, It's going to take a little time for this thing to subside, but I think that's actually a good thing for Solana. I think if you really want to change, if you want to be the blockchain of choice for institutions, for retail, you can't have up to 90% of all your transactions be just meme coin gambling, speculative trading, right? And so I think this reset for Solana is a good thing long-term. So that's kind of my thesis on Solana, but I'm not worried. I think it does have more downside. So I am not a buyer at $160. I'll be a buyer at like 120. Does it ever get there? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I don't get my buy orders filled. But at the end of the day, I like to just have a plan, stick to it. And if it doesn't hit, then we move on to the next one. Let's take a look at the markets, okay? So BTC is at 94,337. Currently down 1.5% over the 24 hours. You know, ETH was rallying yesterday, and it's obviously pulled back, but everything's pulled back. I want to show you this. I want to show you, where did I hide it? I hid it right here. Take a look at Ethereum, okay? This is Ethereum returns. Ethereum has never started a year with 2 red months. Never. If it's had a red January, it's had a really big green October or February. 2022, the bear market, it drew down 27% in January, and in February went up almost 10%. In 2019, it went down 20% in January, and in February went up almost 30%. And on the vice versa, right, the opposite, when it gained 52% in 2018 in January, it lost 24% in the same year, the very next month. And so this is interesting. You know, we always talk about this cycle is different, and I truly believe this cycle is different. Doesn't mean we're not going to get all-time highs from altcoins. Doesn't mean the markets aren't going to rally. But maybe, just maybe, the price action looks different. I still think we're forward 7 months compared to prior cycles, compared to where we got the all-time high in relative time frame positioning to the halving. And so I think it is an accelerated cycle, but I do think it's going to be an elongated cycle as well. You just are going to have more equalization on either side. If price runs too hot, you'll get equalization to the downside. If price runs too low, you'll get equalization to the upside. And so I think that's what we're seeing, this slow grind up in Bitcoin and long phases of consolidation. But we all know historically, you need that retail money to really spark a parabolic run in Bitcoin. But I think this time we can look to 2 things instead of just one. Retail money and nation state money. We need a catalyst to really jumpstart Bitcoin and the altcoins. And one that keeps coming to my mind is a Bitcoin strategic reserve. When that bill passes, which I do think it will, I think it'll happen in 2025. Would I be surprised if it doesn't? No, because of the process of legislation in the US. It's got to go through this subcommittee and then that one, and then they got to strike it and redo it. And then, okay, great, now we send it to the House. And they're like, no, well, send it back, change this. And it's a long, drawn-out process. So I wouldn't be surprised if it goes into 2026. Excuse me, but that is just one of 2 potential catalysts for a big run, a parabolic run in Bitcoin and altcoins. And so that's kind of where I am with the market. We need a catalyst because news isn't doing it. We need actual on-chain catalysts, like someone is doing something. Is it the Fed cutting rates and making borrowing money cheaper? Is it the bond market going down, now incentivizing investors to go risk on versus stick their money into two-year treasury notes or 90-day T-bills to earn 4 or 5%, or money market funds that are earning 5 to 6%? So is that going to be it? Is it going to be the end of quantitative tightening? So there's a lot of things, but it has to be a tangible catalyst, not an idea, not this happened, but something that directly affects the market. That's kind of where I'm at. What are your thoughts?
What catalyst do you need, bro?
I literally just named like 6.
I know. Well, what I'm saying is, like, what catalyst do you actually need? Like, you're making it sound like we're in the middle of a bear market and there's no coming out. Like, bro,
when did I say that?
That you were making it sound like we need a catalyst.
I just can't.
It's doom and gloom.
You don't think we need a catalyst?
What catalyst do you need? That's what I'm saying. Like, okay.
I literally just named 6 of them.
I heard that. So my thing.
No, what? Just to go
here. Look, Bitcoin. All right. So
how long have I been doing this show with you?
So Bitcoin 1 month ago put in an all-time high. Where was it? Was it a month ago or was it a little bit more than a month ago? When did we put in an all-time high on Bitcoin? What was it?
108.
108. I know it was 108, but when was that? 108, 121. Okay, so a little over a month ago, right? Anyways, so if you take a look at, a month ago, we were at a month and a couple of days. We were at brand new all-time
January
high.
20th.
January 20th. So, what was that, 33 days ago? 33 days ago, we were at an all-time high for Bitcoin. Brand new, price discovery, 108,000. Everyone's throwing confetti. Everyone's like, I told you, ass. It's been a month, bro. And now all of a sudden, we're over here talking about like, oh, we need this catalyst and oh, the markets, the only thing that's going to save us is the Fed. Like, what are you talking about, man? We are right on the doorstep of all-time highs. We were pushing up to $100,000 Bitcoin 2 days ago, 3 days ago. When was it? On the 21st. So 3 days ago, we were at $99,000, right? We were at $99,000 3 days ago. We were right there back at the doorstep of $100,000. Then we had,
and 3 days ago,
then
we
had
Taco
the
Bell
hack.
shit my pants.
We,
What's your point?
What do you mean you had like? So you're telling me that the market is in some dire situation?
I did
where
not say it's in a dire situation. But I said if you want a parabolic move, you need a catalyst.
We're not going to get a parabolic move.
Okay, you know we're not. Okay,
we're not.
Okay.
The price of Bitcoin is too high. The market cap is too high. It's $2 trillion.
So then how is it getting to 300K by next year, like you say it is?
In the same, look at this chart. This is how it gets to 300K. It doubles. It went from 25,000 to 50,000 over the course of, 4 months.
Uh-huh.
And then over the course, from 50,000 to 60,000, in less than a month. Then we went from 50,000 to 100,000 8 months later. And now, you look where we're at now. Here's on the 1 year chart. You go from, like as mentioned, 60,000 to 100K in this span of time. And now we're just consolidating. So the next leg up will probably be $130,000 Bitcoin, right? Somewhere in that range. That'll probably happen within the next month or two. And I think it's going to come closer to the month range. And then from there, you go to 180, 200, and it's just going to be a methodical move. We're not going to see what we saw back in 2020 where we had this parabolic run up. I mean, you go back to the last one, back in 2020, I mean, we went from 10K up to, from 10K up to, let's just say over 50,000. So we had a 5X in 3 months. We're not going to get a 5X in 3 months. It's not going to happen anymore, right? We're sitting at a $2 trillion market cap at the time with a $10,000 Bitcoin. You're at a $200 billion market cap, right? So a $200 billion market cap to 5X is not. It's a lot easier, right? For us to 5X a $2 trillion market cap is crazy amount of capital you're going to need. So we're not going to see it. So if you're thinking you're going to get a parabolic bull market run like in the span of 3 months and 5X, it's not going to happen. So you got to look at the market realistically and say, like, what are my expectations? My expectations are that this trend over a year is going to continue. We're going to consolidate, and then we're going to push up to the next price discovery, right?
How long does the consolidation last?
I've already told you 1 to 2 months. It'll be at 130,000. Then it'll probably consolidate for another 2 to 3 months, and then it'll be up to 190,000. And then that puts us out to summer. You're at 190,000. And then going into September, October, November, you push up a couple more times, and we're up to $250,000 and $300,000 Bitcoin. It's the fact is that, as mentioned before, we've just put in an all-time high a little over a month ago. We've pulled back a little bit. We almost caught back up to 100K, had a blow up at an exchange, and then think about it. If I would have told you, hey, the biggest hack in crypto's history, $1.5 billion will be siphoned out of an exchange through Ethereum, but Bitcoin will just drop $2,000. That would be like that would be a crazy story. I'd be like, really? If that doesn't tell you we're in a bull market, I don't know what does. I mean, we talked about it on Friday. Like, remember, we were like, hey, if this would have happened in the bear market, look at FTX and look at all this other crap and all these things exploded and collateral damage. That didn't happen this time. We had a major exploit in an exchange, and we've seen in time and time again historically when these major exploits have happened, Voyager, Bitfinex, Mt. Gox, you had FTX, and there's lots of other exchanges out there too, and those are just the big names. And so, Quadriga, as these exchanges had these big issues pop up, they've always collapsed. This time, it didn't, and they've almost recouped all of their ETH. They didn't get it back, but they've replenished what was gone.
I wonder how. So this might be. So this is that was Bybit's Bitcoin stash. Okay, throw that back up there. The Bitcoin stash on Bybit from 60. We'll call it 70,000 because you see the top here, right? Between 68, 72, all the way down to 52,000. So that's what, almost 20,000. So $2 billion in Bitcoin they sold over the last, 2 days? And Bitcoin's at 94K. So I agree with you. I'm not saying we're not in a bull market. I'm just saying this market cycle is different. I mean, you look at the chart, we've been consolidating already for 70 days. That's 2 months and 10 days. Last time we saw consolidation was 9 months. I'm not saying we're going to see a 9-month consolidation, but this cycle is obviously different. Look at the last cycle, right?
But look at that last cycle one before. And so the cycles are always going to be different. The only thing that they share in common is that you got halving, which is a supply and demand trigger effect. It draws the price up. And also, we just have the fatigue of the bear market, fading, and people decide to get back in, right?
Well, here was the structure of the last cycle, okay? So our first big pullback happened in January of 2021. We saw a 30% drawdown over a span of 20 days. And then we saw a run from Bitcoin of 60% in 12 days, okay? Then we had another pullback, 25% that lasted a week. Then we had a large run up for BTC of 37% in, again, 12 days. The next one, 26% drawdown over 11 days. What did Bitcoin do afterwards? It rallied 22% in, again, 12 days. Then the largest pullback, okay, that was our first top here, okay? The largest pullback we saw was a 50% pullback, and this kind of consolidation spill-off period lasted 71 days. Where are we now? Again, right now, we're at 70 days, okay? 70 days. So we're right at that first big pullback. Now, that pullback was 50% in 2021. The pullback we're seeing now is only 15%. And then the last one before we got to that all-time high of $69,000 before the bear market was a drawdown of 23% that lasted 22 days. And then Bitcoin rallied to its new all-time high, 62% over 22 days. So this cycle is different in terms of the moves and the length. I would say, the length is probably the biggest differentiator here. But again, I just think
you see less volatility outside of moving into a new channel. The downside swings, you mentioned multiple 30% plus pullbacks, right?
Yeah.
30%, 30%, 50%. We haven't even seen that yet, right?
I mean, you got 8%, right?
But wouldn't you argue if your downside pullbacks are mitigated, don't you think the upside is going to happen as well?
Mitigated upside?
Yeah. I mean, that's why I truly don't believe we're going to get any kind of parabolic candle that we see essentially. I think the 2Xs in less than 60 days are gone.
I can see that. Unless, again, going back to the catalyst, unless USA starts buying Bitcoin and I don't know.
Yeah, I don't write it off as not going to happen. I just think it's less probable. I do think if you do get a 2x out of Bitcoin within a 30-day time window, I think that is 100% the narrative. USA buying Bitcoin. It's going to happen. It's going to happen this year. It's going to happen this cycle. And the question is, when is it going to happen, right? How fast are they going to move? How much Bitcoin are they going to buy on that first buy? That's the uncertainty here. The markets don't know it, but the thing is that it's coming and it's around the corner. In my opinion, I think it happens within the next 60 days, which is why I have this conviction that within the next 60 days, we're going to be in a situation where crypto goes parabolic, right? Now, maybe you don't get the giant green candle out of Bitcoin, but imagine this, $150,000 Bitcoin, where are the alts? Where is Cardano? Where is Ethereum? Where is all of the alts, right? Now, with that said, I do think there's a little difference this cycle versus the last. Last cycle, investment was the investment was pumped by retail in the altcoins. This time around, investment is the money is realistically coming from institutions and governments, hedge funds, retirement accounts, sovereign wealth funds. That's where your money's coming from right now, or at least the investment. Remember, people aren't sitting on a lot of disposable income. You go out here in Las Vegas, it's not the party town it typically is. You know, the tourism is
city's pretty dead, man. I'll tell you, the city's pretty dead.
Yeah, and I mean, there's always a crowd in Vegas. There's always a crowd in Vegas. However, the crowd is smaller, and there's always people in vacation. There's always retail, but where we're at is that the economy is not in a situation where the average individual has extra money just sitting on the side, just pouring it into crypto. Yeah. Which, if institutions aren't buying, then at that point, where's the money coming from? We do got some. Give a little love to the chat. We got some super chats here. We have a Rusty Bot. He gave a 20 Nokia phones. 20 Nokia phones. He said, "I got the almanac in the mail. Thank you. Thanks for supporting, bro." If you haven't got an almanac yet, we're under 100 copies left. So this is your last chance to kind of get the almanac. We have a link in the description. A lot of good info in there. We also give you a price prediction for Bitcoin throughout the year, which we're pretty much on par so far. And we'll see. We'll see there. Also, we have some grading for all of our favorite projects, particularly like the top 100 cryptos snapshotted in December. And so we'll kind of give you a little bit of a grade on there. Also, we got Triple D. He said, Robin, smoking that crypto.
Also got a super chat goal we just hit.
What was our super chat goal?
The goal was one super chat of $2. I'll yell at Rob.
Oh.
And Ashley right away. You see that? And Nathan said yell twice. Shame on you, Robin. I would be louder, but I don't want to blow out the audio. So we got our, but we do have our audio guy Chase back there. What's up, Chase? Good to see you, brother. All right. Let's talk about let's get into some news here. So a couple things. We'll get back to the charts and we have some altcoin news to share with you as well. Take a look at this. This was ETF flows, or sorry, institutional flows last week. Why are you lagging? Okay. I think I got it there. All right. So last week we saw 571 million flow out of Bitcoin, but everything else was a positive flow, right? Inflow. You had the highest coming from XRP, where $38.3 million of institutional money flowed in to XRP. Number 2 was Solana at 9 million. Number 3 was ETH at 4. Then you had multi-asset, and then Sui, Litecoin, and Cardano saw a little bit of money, although minute and minuscule. It's still worth mentioning. We also had this as well. Look at that. Loading. Cool, right? Oh, also, before I forget, we are going to be announcing the winner of the trading competition for last week. So excited to announce that. All right, so this page is loading. So while that page is loading, let's go to this. This is posted by Raul Pal. Okay, he said, you guys all need to learn patience. This was 2017, very similar macro structure. 28% pullbacks in Bitcoin. We already went over that. Most lasted 2 to 3 months for a new high. Alt saw 65% corrections. All were noise. And so, and again, I did kind of share this, but kind of to what you were saying there, Robbo. It's, yeah. And then, this is what I wanted to share. So look at this. Look at these stats here. Only 44% of U.S. Bitcoin ETF buying has been for long-term holding, while the rest majority is likely tied to arbitrage strategies, according to 10x Research. Marcus Thielen said that it means that the actual demand for Bitcoin as a long-term asset in multi-asset portfolios is significantly smaller than the media portrays. I would argue 44% is a pretty big number, seeing as I think BlackRock alone has, what, 500,000 Bitcoin? Right? 500,000 Bitcoin. And 200,000 of that is long-term holding. That's pretty damn good in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah. You know,
I mean, we weren't expecting 100% of it to be freaking hodlers, right?
No.
Okay.
I mean, you also got a lot of traders in there, but definitely it's, I think, what's represented in the ETF, I think more than anything else is institution at this current moment.
Yeah.
I know that, it came out that sovereign wealth funds were investing or were buying ETFs. I still think that's a smaller percentage in the bigger piece of the pie. I think what we're seeing is institutions. I think companies, I think the whales, more or less, individuals are still buying and custodying themselves. And ETF really just represents institutions. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer. Then we have this piece of news. Montana, North Dakota, and Wyoming all rejected the bills for a state-managed Bitcoin reserve over volatility concerns. People like Michael Saylor will argue volatility is actually a feature, not a bug for something like Bitcoin. But to some people, they just can't handle it. But it's okay. And this was pretty big here. There's been a lot of chatter about market makers and manipulation and Wintermute and this and that. Well, you got Citadel Securities, which manages $65 billion in AUM, is looking to become a liquidity provider for Bitcoin and crypto, betting on President Trump's embrace of the industry. This was from Bloomberg. So the firm aims to get added to the roster of market makers on various exchanges, including Coinbase, Binance, and Crypto.com. Once the firm is approved on exchanges, it initially plans to set up market-making teams outside the U.S., asking, the extent of the push and Citadel's desire could change based on how or if new regulations roll out in the coming months. So, I mean, do you see this as a positive or a negative? And keep in mind, all the news. I
don't know if it's positive or negative. I mean, honestly, I just think it's another person. It would be like if another exchange kind of popped up in the U.S. and it started gaining a lot of users. Is that positive or negative? Essentially, just you have TradFi coming in and messing with order books, right? I mean, that's essentially what it is, right? Providing liquidity when needed.
But are they better than the people that are currently fucking up the order book?
I mean, perhaps. I mean, I don't know.
I'm working to bring on. I reached out to some people. I'm working to bring on someone who was in this area of market making, because I got a lot of questions. I'm curious, and I'm sure people watching have a lot of questions too. And so a lot of rumors and speculation about manipulation in the markets and what these market makers are doing. Market makers like Wintermute, like Jump Crypto, what they're doing to potentially hold down the price of certain altcoins and essentially manipulating the market. So I want to get a little more insight on that.
Yeah, I'll say that market makers, a lot of times we just associate them with setting price for a new listing.
Oh no, they got a lot.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying that's a lot of people just think market maker, new listing. But I think it's their responsibilities and their role in cryptos expand way outside of that. And so they're kind of the gatekeepers, right? And they're the ones that decide a lot of things, right? And so I'll just leave it at that. But I don't know, not too big of a story for me.
We have this from Strategy. They bought the top again. 20,000 Bitcoin valued at $2 billion at 97,514 per Bitcoin. They now hold just 1,000 shy of 500,000.
But that ain't the top though, bro. I mean, obviously.
About the local top.
Yeah, but
at the current moment. Some potentially damning piece of news along the Saylor lines is this. He met with the SEC task force on Friday. This is Michael Saylor. This is what they talked about. Taxing of digital assets, okay? So this is what he recommends. Identifying 6 different categories, okay? Digital commodities, pretty much Bitcoin. An asset without an issuer. Digital security, an asset with an issuer backed by a security like equity, debt, derivatives, crypto. Digital currency, digital token, digital NFT, and digital ABT, right? Assets without an issuer that are backed by a physical asset like gold, oil, or commodities. And then it goes through legitimacy. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But to me, this is very bearish. Depending on how much weight the SEC task force puts into what Michael Saylor says, the guy hates everything outside of Bitcoin. And if he's in there and he's helping them come up with a framework, you're gonna, you said last week you don't want the SEC up in crypto's business. If they go with his recommendations, the SEC will in fact be all up in crypto's business. I don't know. I got a bearish outlook on this one as far as Saylor. Now I'm not saying he's the only person that they're listening to or they're meeting with, but I mean, depending on how much weight they put on his recommendations, this could be a negative. That's what I think. What do you think?
I'm just flabbergasted with you, bro. Last week, you were over here beating the drum on how great the SEC crypto task force was going to be. Like how bullish you were. And then literally 3 days later, you're like, oh, they're going to be regulating crypto.
Oh my God.
They talked to Michael Saylor. This is not good, guys. This is not.
Can't do this anymore. You mince and twist my words to fit this dumb narrative.
How am I twisting? Okay, let's just rewind.
Do you think Michael Saylor is bullish for altcoins? Yes or no? Is he an altcoin bull? The answer is no. The answer is no. It's not a complicated question.
I honestly, it's not. My answer is not no. I think he puts. No. Honestly, he puts. Listen, he puts.
When crypto was getting fucked by the SEC, when crypto was getting fucked by the SEC, he came out there and said Bitcoin should be the only thing that's eligible to be traded and bought. Everything else needs to be put as a security and essentially gotten rid of.
Am I allowed to speak now?
I don't have the bandwidth for this, man. I really don't.
Well, it's very simple.
Find the bandwidth.
Very, very simple situation here, right? The man believes in Bitcoin, and he's even came out and said that crypto in itself is similar to technology, right? And there's a use case for it. And if you've listened to multiple Michael Saylor interviews as of late, he does not dismiss crypto as having zero utility use case. He just personally doesn't see the value in it. He doesn't see he thinks that it is it's stupid to invest in crypto outside of Bitcoin. But he'll say the same thing about stocks. Now, his company in itself is in the stock market, which in itself is the U.S. economy, and so he doesn't invest in gold. It's not like he's trying to ban gold from being sold. He's not trying to ban stocks from being sold. He just personally doesn't invest in any cryptos outside of Bitcoin. He doesn't invest in anything outside of Bitcoin. Doesn't mean that that's bad for everything outside of Bitcoin. It's not like he wants the US to collapse and close up. It's not like he wants the stock market to close. It's not like he wants to shut down crypto. He doesn't. And I think that what he wants to do is have clear regulation and clear separation for what is a certain type of crypto and others. And I actually agree with him. And if you blindly think that digital commodities is a area that only Bitcoin can reach, then you have to argue against it. Because at one point there was an issuer of Bitcoin. At one point Satoshi was an issuer, right? He was the one that controlled it. He was the one that there was very little decentralization. There was years where Satoshi was mining majority of crypto, of Bitcoin. And it was only a handful of miners that were participating. The same can be said with nodes. It was very little decentralization. And so Bitcoin in itself would not classify as a digital commodity in its first 4 or 5 years in existence. And so you can simply say the same thing about majority of cryptos. In the early years, they don't classify for it. And so if Bitcoin's a digital commodity at this current moment, you can make the argument that other commodities that have been around for long enough that have sufficiently decentralized can also qualify to be a commodity. And so whatever protections or whatever regulation ends up going to Bitcoin, I would argue would also go to the likes of Ethereum, the likes of XRP. You know what? I mean, you've already, the courts have even come out and said that XRP is not a security on its own, just the way it's sold. So if the courts say that XRP is a digital commodity, it's in the same basket as Bitcoin, which is a win. If XRP is a commodity, then there is a host of other projects that'll be commodities as well. And so to have some kind of clarity, I think is great. And you know what? If you want to label something as a digital security, what is the huge downside to that? I think that if you are labeled a digital security and you're given a roadmap to how to become a digital commodity, I think that's ultimately bullish. If you were to say, hey, you're a digital security right now, but here's what you need to do to become a digital commodity, become more decentralized, remove all the tokens from the owner's hands or whatever it is, and do X, Y, and Z, and then you can get there. I think that's great for our industry. And I think that the fact that we've had no regulation at all whatsoever, and everything has just been under the gun and attacked by the SEC, I think is absolutely phenomenal. Finally, we're making some kind of progress. And to think that the SEC is just going to say, hey, we'll allow everything, because there's two worlds. There's zero regulation, put your hands up, let everyone fight for themselves, and let's rug pull to death. Or somebody step in and put some kind of framework in. And I think that thing is fine. At the end of the day, it's going to be a net positive.
I disagree. Bitcoin is currently under $94,000. So the support level I'm looking at is 92.4. And why? Well, we have this W pattern here, right? You have this W pattern where Bitcoin came back and had essentially a double bottom and right at that 92K level. And each time Bitcoin got down there, what came after was a 10% run, and the second one was a run up to the all-time high, which was around 18%. And so very curious to see how price reacts at these levels. And we do have a large order block, around 17% of trading happen at that 92.4 level, just below it, as you can see here from the price action concepts. But we are getting close to our previous week low, which is that 93.3. So we got a lot of levels of support. If we lose that, the next one you're looking at is like 86.5 to 88.8. And so, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on BTC right now. But I mean, it's just going down. All right, we're going to announce the winner of our first ever trading competition. And the winner is user B651464696. Check your wallet. Should have $300 in there. And so, guys, remember, the only requirement is 100,000 in volume, okay? Right now, we've got 2 people over that, and we got another 2 that are like 30% away. And so you only have to hit it once to qualify. So Grib, I think Grib was number 1, but he didn't hit 100K. He or she didn't hit 100K in volume. But if you guys keep trading, those numbers come out. Those numbers will go up to 100K. You get essentially your volume counts both ways. when you open a trade and then when you close a trade. So it essentially counts as double. I did the math. It's like 10 trades of $500 at 10x leverage, or 20 trades, 250 at 10x leverage, or 5 trades at 20x leverage for 500. So it's not a very big barrier to entry, but it's still something that the exchange kind of wants you to hit, because they don't want someone to just put in one trade and have a volume of like $100, and then everyone else who's really been actively trading not get rewarded. So also, moving forward, this user can no longer win the weekly prizes. He can win the overall, and he can win the overall trading volume, but we want to give people an equal playing field. And so the worst thing you want is for someone to, again, hit a really big trade and just not trade again, and that number keeps compounding, and no one can catch him. And so we'll see who the winner is for next week. But if you want to join, the link is in the description of the video, and you will get a sign-on bonus as well. Some other piece of important news: the SEC has officially closed, or is closing, their investigation into Robinhood. We know the Coinbase thing happened. That's gone. Robinhood, that's gone. Is Uniswap next? Uniswap, are they going to...
I think they're going to drop all litigation.
They should.
Honestly, I think they're going to drop all litigation and then start over again. I don't think the SEC should not enforce or, come out with lawsuits. I think a lot of what they were trying to do was set precedents that they just hate crypto. And they're just like, anybody that's the biggest names, we're going to sue you. We don't care. We don't care how legit your company is. You offer crypto services, we're going to sue you. And that's what we saw. And so I think what we're seeing now is an unwind of that ideology. The court cases that have been, those have all come to a close, or more. They're coming to a close, right? There's only a couple left, and from here on out, I still want to see some enforcement, right? But I think focus on these meme coins, man. Focus on, because that's what's drawing the market down. And I think if the SEC,
that's where a lot of the frauds happen.
That's what I'm saying. If the SEC started dropping, imagine if the SEC sued Haktua, and then followed up and sued Javier Milei or something like that, and maybe well, they're not gonna sue Donald Trump, but you get where I'm saying, is that hold people accountable. You could also argue that Donald Trump's coin or token is still holding strong. It hasn't essentially pulled back. So,
well, they right away came out and said it's a digital collectible. That was like one of the first things they said.
Yeah, but I mean, the Donald Trump token hasn't been rug pulled, and so it has lost value, sure, but it's still number 36 on the market cap list, and it had its pump, but I mean, you could argue that what we saw out of
this was so funny. I remember when this thing ran to 70, or when it ran to 70 billion and pulled back to 50. You had so many people like, you got to buy this. It's going to at least 100 billion. I'm like,
but I mean, how many charts look like this? It comes out, it rips up, you get a, 10, 100x, whatever it is, and then it consolidates, right? And so, if you were to take and from this point forward, right, if you were to just remove the initial pump, I mean, it's trading decent, right? I mean, we saw it go from 16 cents up to 24, so you almost got a 2x, and it's pulled back. And so, I mean, I wouldn't say that was a failure or rug pull. The Melania one a little bit more so of a
well, the same people that ran the Javier Milei coin also ran the Melania coin.
Yeah. And so, yeah, SEC, just hold people that are blatantly trying to fraud the market accountable. Right?
Weren't you saying the opposite last week? You said you don't want him to do that because that'll change in 4 years. Because I was making this exact point last week and you yelled at me, remember?
Yeah, you did. I just said I am apprehensive having a crypto enforcement division. But I'm not saying not to touch crypto and enforce it, but I think having a whole division focused on going after all these different projects, just like, hey, you know what? The SEC, just stay out of it. But when something is obviously a fraud, then, hey, like, let's step up and do something about it, right? If all of a sudden someone launches a company and it's on the New York Stock Exchange and they just fraud a bunch of people and just rob money, and then it goes under, whatever it is, people exit, and the publicly traded company is without a reasonable doubt just frauding the investors, then at that point, like, hold them accountable.
I agree.
But if that one event happens, I'm not saying create a brand new division to go after, you know, new stock market companies and this and that. Just like, hey, just pay attention when obvious fraud pops up, go after it.
I think everyone worries in general about giving government one piece of power, because one is never enough, right? They keep expanding and expanding. But I think it just there has to be some sort of legislation passed, because I agree with you. If the enforcement task force comes in and they're kind of carte blanche and they're just doing what they think is correct, and in 4 years, new administration, who knows? Maybe in 2 years, with the midterm elections, right? You get some less pro crypto people in the House and the Senate, and there's no like law that's been passed, and it's all just executive orders. Now I know Congress can't rescind executive orders, but say a new president comes in, they start rescinding everything. If something's not like put in law, then I can assume that they're going to take, like, well, yeah, you know, we're just going to follow what they did, and then you start seeing.
But when you argue, then isn't that what Michael Saylor's proposing, a net positive, right? To have a framework for crypto companies to, you know, to say, hey, this is what we are currently. Because I mean, a digital, like if I launch a meme coin today, I understand it is not a digital commodity, at least not day one, right? But also, if I launch a layer 1 smart contract blockchain and I go through years and years of becoming more and more decentralized, and I get more and more listings and have less and less control of it, then, I mean, I figure, like, what is the path to become a commodity? I think that's great, right? And that's what we haven't had before. And then from an exchange perspective or a market maker to like identify, okay, which ones are we selling that are commodities and which ones are securities, and maybe have a little bit more clarity on what products we're offering. I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of unknowns on what this will look like, but I think the general consensus is we need a little bit more clarity, right? We can all agree that we need a little bit more structure and clarity on crypto. And I think that if there's blatant fraud, then I think someone should hold them accountable.
And do you remember what I said? Do you remember I said when Trump launched his meme coin and he held back 80%, and you saw the narrative shift to, well, that's a good thing because they can control the snipers and this and that. And I said more people are going to get scammed because people are going to look at that, because that used to be a red flag. The person who launches the meme coin, if they hold 80%, that would have been a red flag. That would have been a red flag. Now it's seen as a positive, and people are getting screwed because guess what happens? At 80%, majority of them, they just dump on retail. But the good news here is the good news. The good news is I saw another one. It was a rapper, I think Rich the Kid or something. He launched the meme coin. It only ran up to $100,000 before they pulled it. And they started deleting all their tweets and ran with the whole bullshit narrative. Oh, I got hacked. BS, bro. Complete BS. Those things would have ran up to $5, $10, $20 million and then got rugged. So we're seeing those numbers start to diminish as far as how high they're able to push these scams before they ultimately pull the rug underneath the retail investors. And so I think that's a positive thing to look forward to. The meme coin market is getting a complete reset. And I would be hesitant to be in meme coins outside of your blue chips like Doge, like maybe SHIB or Pepe or SNEC, or there's a couple other ones. New launches, I am not even considering looking at those. And so, yeah.
So Nathan Lohman gave a $10 super chat. He said, either crypto is regulated or not regulated. Even if it's slightly regulated by Trump administration, you know that it opens the door for heavy regulation in the next administration, slippery slope. I agree with you, but my perspective is that there's going to be oversight and there's going to be regulation in crypto, at least here in the United States, whether you like to or not, right? What we saw prior was regulation without any rules, without any guidance. And so nobody knew how to operate at all. And so if you're going to have regulation, we might as well come to the table, bring people that are in the industry to sit down and propose regulation that makes sense. Now, Will it swing one direction too much? Will there be too much power? Yeah, of course. But the reality of it is you're going to get oversight and regulation whether you want to or not. If you're going to let banks, institutions, and Wall Street offer crypto and crypto services, there has to be some rules. There's just no way around it. And so if we're going to develop the rules, best develop them with players that are in a crypto space with a seat at the table.
I think it needs to be through legislation.
And also with Trump in bringing people in as well.
And it needs to be through legislation, not through executive orders, to Nathan's point.
But executive orders right now make sense. Quick little patch. Here we go. Let's get crypto going in the U.S. And the legislation is coming. There's plenty of it. States are developing Bitcoin reserves. We still got the Cynthia Lummis bill. We had the repeal of SOB 121. We have the SOB 122. There's a lot of things that you can say that even in the short month, and I think it's like week and a half that Trump has been in office, we've made a lot of progress, and the future's looking bright. I'm very excited.
A couple of quick hitters. Before I do, I want to give a big thank you to today's channel sponsors. Today's show is partly brought to you by CAM's Blue Wire Technology. If you want to learn how CAMs can help your business scale and grow, visit bluewiretech.com. They've been an absolutely must resource for us here at the studio. Also, today's show is brought to you by decrypted.tax. And so if you are looking to file taxes with someone who understands our space so you don't get hit with a freaking audit, also, you can go back and amend previous tax returns, all those gas fees you potentially paid in 2022, 2021. You can see if Ernest and his team can amend those to put more money in your pocket. And so hit up Ernest. They're doing a free 1-hour consultation at decrypted.tax. So shout out to them. And a couple of altcoin news. This is pretty big. NASDAQ files to list the Canary HBAR ETF. They've sought permission to list an ETF designed to hold the HBAR token. Now, if you remember, back in November is when they originally filed with the SEC, and now the NASDAQ is looking to list it. That's bullish. You also have this from Sentiment. Here are the crypto's top overall coins by development activity of the last 30 days. Surprise, surprise, ICP leads the way, followed by Chainlink, Optimism, Cardano, and Starknet, with Hedera coming in at number 6. So some interesting metrics there. And then finally, from our favorite KOL on X is AIXPT. RUNE quietly flipped to permissionless deployment last week. Now we're seeing 580,000 daily active addresses and 20,000 RUNE token in weekly revenue. This is what happens when you move the gatekeepers. So RUNE, as I've mentioned multiple times on the show, is one of my top gaming plays for this run. Any comment on anything I just shared there, Rob?
No, man, it's all good stuff, bro.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Question.
Answer.
A month ago.
Yes.
Or not even. At the beginning of the month.
Yes.
Was when we saw that big dip.
Yes.
Bitcoin went down to 92,000, briefly popped back up. We're at 94. We briefly went under 94 to 93. Do we go down and test 92?
By the end of the month?
Yeah, it's only a week left. Yeah. You think so?
I do.
You don't think?
But I think we get a run up first. We get a run up to 97, 98K, and then
So then we got some big volatility this week.
Yeah, we got to flush down it. We got to flush down it. There's a lot happening in Japan with the economy there. Their CPI came in at 4% versus 3%, and the last time they hiked rates, the markets collapsed. You remember that? The Nikkei was down. I mean, it was like the worst drawdown ever in Japan, which spilled into the rest of the markets. And obviously, Japan is the number one holder of U.S. debt. So it has ripple effects through the market. And so people are anticipating it came in at 4% versus expected 3%. Are they going to hike rates? If they do, all those people that borrowed against the yen at super cheap prices, even at negative interest rates, is that scenario going to come home to roost? Especially what we saw last time. So there's a lot of on the macro side and the stock side, there's a lot of uncertainty in the markets with investors, and they hate uncertainty. But I think as the Trump administration gets in place, as we see some legislation, the whole tariff thing, they're working on bringing the end to the Ukraine war. I think there's just a lot of indecision in the air. Once that gets, remember guys, there's $7 and $9 trillion sitting in money market funds that are just earning 5%. It's risk off. And so QT is going to stop. Fed's already said it. They start cutting rates. I mean, I think it's all gonna kind of be the snowball effect, and it's just all. I think we're gonna see a big run over the next, I don't know, 4 to 5 months. Could we see some chop until then? Yeah, I'm ready for it. That'll do it for the show today. I will be going live at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as I do every Monday through Friday. We'll be taking a more technical and fundamental approach to crypto, where we'll look at fundamental analysis, technical analysis, a lot of charting, a lot of good stuff. So we have a lot of fun there. Come join me again right here on this channel at 5 p.m. Pacific. And that's all I got, gentlemen. Mafia boss over there still got his glasses on, huh? Here's to hear the story why he put him on after the show is over. Which, speaking of the show is over, Rocco! Thank you all so much for tuning in. We appreciate you kicking off your crypto week with us here at Sin City Crypto. Keep your heads up. Everything's going to be just okay. And come join me in about 5 hours. I love you guys.
You don't want to see what I can see.
Everybody know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Named according to your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy the dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming, hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon, then to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya.